An emerging oil crisis is sending shockwaves across Asia. Several of America's closest allies in the region are scrambling to secure energy supplies as tanker traffic through the Strait of Hormuz slows dramatically. The narrow waterway between the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Sea is one of the most important shipping routes in the world. A large portion of the planet's oil exports passes through this strategic choke point every day. But rising tensions and fighting in the region have slowed tanker movements to a near standstill. For many Asian economies, the potential consequences are severe. Countries like Japan and South Korea rely heavily on imported oil and gas from the Middle East. Even a short disruption in supply can create serious economic pressure. Energy officials across the region are now racing to secure alternative sources of fuel. Governments are considering emergency reserves, new supply contracts, and closer coordination with international partners. Meanwhile, Southeast Asian countries are also watching the situation closely. For fast-growing economies in the region, stable energy supplies are essential for industry, transportation, and daily life. The slowdown in tanker traffic has already raised fears of rising fuel prices and potential shortages. At the same time, the geopolitical dimension of the crisis is becoming increasingly important. Allies in Asia are looking toward Washington for leadership and coordination. But uncertainty surrounding the United States' strategy has left some governments searching for their own solutions. The situation highlights just how fragile global energy supply chains can be. A single strategic choke point like the Strait of Hormuz can influence the stability of markets across the entire world. For now, the key question remains: will the crisis disrupt global energy markets, or can diplomacy and coordination prevent a wider shock? As tensions continue in the region, governments across Asia are preparing for the possibility that this crisis could grow even larger. Political tensions in the country are rising as Prime Minister Viktor Orban faces one of the most serious challenges to his power in years. His main rival, Péter Magyar, has emerged as a surprising political figure, attracting significant attention and support from voters who want change. But as the campaign intensifies, so do the accusations, rumors, and potential smear tactics. In mid-February, several journalists in Hungary began receiving anonymous messages containing a mysterious image of a bedroom with a caption that read simply, "Coming soon." The message quickly spread across social media, sparking speculation that a compromising video targeting Magyar might soon be released. So far, no such video has appeared publicly. However, the situation has already added a new level of tension to the election campaign. Magyar himself has addressed the rumors directly. He claims that his political opponents could be preparing to release secretly recorded footage of him and his former girlfriend. According to him, the material may have been recorded using surveillance equipment and could even be manipulated or fabricated. If true, such tactics would represent one of the most aggressive smear campaigns in Hungary's recent political history. Analysts say the stakes of this election are unusually high. For more than a decade, Viktor Orban and his political allies have dominated Hungarian politics. But growing economic pressures, political fatigue among some voters, and the rise of new opposition figures are making this election more competitive than previous ones. As a result, experts believe negative campaigning and influence operations could intensify in the months ahead. Disinformation, personal attacks, and online propaganda have become common features of modern elections around the world, and Hungary may be no exception. For voters, the challenge will be separating real information from political manipulation. The outcome of this election could shape Hungarians' political direction for years to come. Will Orban maintain his grip on power, or will a new political force manage to break through? For now, one thing is clear: Hungary's election campaign is only just beginning, and the political battle ahead may become even more dramatic. Speaking during high-level discussions surrounding potential peace negotiations, Poroshenko cautioned that Russia's president, a former KGB officer, is a master strategist who uses talks not to compromise but to gain leverage. His advice? Only negotiate from a position of undeniable strength. Poroshenko knows this from experience. Back in 2014 and 2015, Ukraine signed the Minsk agreements, brokered alongside European leaders. The goal was to freeze the conflict in eastern Ukraine and prevent further escalation. But according to Poroshenko, those agreements failed because Russia never truly intended to honor them. Instead, he argues, Moscow used the pause to regroup, strengthen its position, and prepare for future aggression. Now, as new U.S.-brokered diplomatic efforts attempt to find a pathway towards ending the war, Poroshenko fears history could repeat itself. His warning appears directed not only at Moscow, but also at Ukraine's current leadership. President Volodymyr Zelensky faces immense pressure. The war has stretched on for years. Western allies are balancing military aid, political fatigue, and economic strain. At the same time, Russia continues to test Ukraine's resilience on the battlefield. The key question is this: is negotiation a path to peace or a strategic advantage for the Kremlin? Poroshenko argues that entering talks without maximum military, economic, and diplomatic leverage risks emboldening Russia. In his view, peace must be secured from strength, not urgency. Meanwhile, global leaders are divided. Some believe diplomacy must start sooner rather than later to prevent further destruction. Others warn that premature talks could lock Ukraine into unfavorable terms. Behind the scenes, the geopolitical stakes are enormous. The outcome of these negotiations won't just shape Ukraine's future, it could redefine European security, NATO unity, and the balance of power between Russia and the West. For Ukraine, the dilemma is existential. Fight longer and risk exhaustion, or negotiate and risk concession. Poroshenko's message is clear: strength first, talks later. Whether that advice will guide the next phase of diplomacy remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the world is watching, and the decisions made now could shape Europe for decades to come.